This is Jackanory Junior. Hello, I'm Kris, and this is the story of how an ordinary boy named Arthur became King of England. In the days of merry England, when men wore stretchy tights, the crazy castle Camelot stood crammed with nutty knights. They all sat round a table, dressed up in metal kit. Their table was a round one, because a square one wouldn't fit. They went on many adventures. Yes, they travelled wide and far. They had to go by horse, of course, as they hadn't got a car. But in those days so long ago, it was easier to be brave. There were loads of trolls and dragons, and many maids to save. So let me take a good old gulp from my magic cup. And now let's spin the table to see which knight pops up. Before us stands King Arthur. Of kings he was the best. He knew no fear, he liked his beer, and wore a metal vest. I'll tell you the wondrous story of how he came to rule. So just stay put and listen. It's crazy, but it's cool. Under the old King Uther, everything seemed all right, but somebody poisoned his porridge, and everyone started to fight. Everyone wanted his castle, everyone wanted his crown, but every time somebody grabbed him, somebody else knocked him down. The nastiest knights went picking fights, bold barons unfurled their banners. Everyone scrabbled for wealth and power, and they all forgot their manners. The country was seething with villains, doing their pillage and loot. There just wasn't anyone left in charge to give them a good strong boot. Now deep in the woods was a wizard, a maker of mystery. He could change himself into a bat or a bird and hide in the bough of a tree. He was tall and thin and ancient, with a beard and a brilliant cloak, and the folk all called him Merlin, that weird old wizard bloke. But they knew he was really brainy, of that there could be no doubt. So everyone hoped that Merlin would sort this king thing out. And out from the woods he came at last, wearing a serious frown. He muttered a word, changed into a bird, and flew to London town. In London he shook off his feathers, and summoned all knights and lords. They came from all parts, hope high in their hearts, with their helmets and shields and swords. They scrapped, and they yapped, and they squabbled, like a pack of dogs with a bone. For each great lump thought his very own rump would comfortably fit the throne. But when they turned up at the meeting, good heavens, what's this they found? A sword stuck into a boulder. It kind of appeared on the ground. The boulder, it stood on a marble block. On the block were words in gold. Whoever can pull this sword out gets the jackpot, it's his to hold. But, more than that, the lucky old chap who draws it out by hand, why, that's the chap to cheer and clap as the king of all the land. Well, everyone wanted to try their luck. They queued from first to last. But no one could budge that blade an inch. The sword stuck firmly fast. Many a knight came striding up to hoik and heave and huff. But everyone went tottering back, all pale and out of puff. So in the end they cried, enough! This is a balmy test. Let's put together a meeting to see who jousts the best. One of the knights, Sir Ector, had brought his son, Sir Kay, and Kay's young brother, Arthur, was acting squire that day. Now, poor young Arthur was only a lad, and although he was brave and bold, he had to follow his brother around and do as he was told. Just as they reached the meeting, Kay cried out loud, "Oh Lord, oh dear, oh golly, I am a wally, I forgot my sword." So brother Arthur hurried back to fetch it from their tent, but the only sword that he could see was blunt and badly bent. He went to seek some other sword. He hunted all around, until at last he came right past that boulder on the ground. And when he saw the trusty weapon sticking in the air, he reached straight out and gave a shout, "I'll borrow that one there. I wouldn't dream of stealing it. He said it's just a loan." And when he pulled, well, blow me down! The blade slid out the stone. So back he went to the meeting and handed it to Kay. But when his brother saw it, his colour drained away. "Crikey," breathed the knight in awe. "Well, here's a sword to swing. This very day the great Sir Kay is destined to be king." Up strode Sir Ector looking cross and gave his son a clout. "You did your best and failed the test, so put it back, you lout. If you can pull it out yourself, just show me one repeat. If you're my lord, I'll eat my sword, I'll even kiss your feet." Back they went to the boulder to try the test again. But try as he might, Sir Kay the knight just tugged and tugged in vain. "Oh, did you do it, Arthur?" he said with an angry hiss. Arthur just reached his hand out. No sweat, he said, like this. He lifted out the shining sword and held it up aloft. Sir Kay and old Sir Ector both felt their knees go soft. While soon the others gathered round, for rumours travelled quickly. What, take this little wimp as king? They cried, he's small and sickly. It isn't right, he's not a knight. Besides, he's underage. A lad like that, he's just a brat, not fit to be a page. But suddenly, a shadow spread as clouds blocked out the sun. And Merlin the magician's voice boomed,
"Quiet, everyone. I tell you all, my fortune ball is glowing and it shows. It's crystal clear that this boy here's the one the boulder chose. Sir Ector here has reared the lad to be a worthy knight. Swear on your swords you are the lord's, to serve him as is right."
Then Arthur stood and cleared his throat. He felt all flushed and shy, so he tried to make his voice sound deep, though really it was high. "We'll build a swanky castle. We'll give it all we've got. We'll fill it full of funny folk and call it Camelot. We'll take on trolls and dragons and chase big giants away. Call Camelot will be so hot, and I'm the king, hooray! And then when we're tired and hungry, we'll meet back there for fun. We'll sizzle pigs, do silly jigs, and I'll be number one." So Arthur got his Camelot, surrounded by his knights. Each man was brave and fearless, and they all looked great in tights. Many more adventures these nobles undertook, and men of renown, they wrote them down and stuck them in this book. Here's one I think you'll like. I'm sure it cannot fail. It tells how great Sir Galahad set out to get the Grail. The Grail, what's that, you may well ask? Well, it's a kind of cup, and if you get to hold it, your luck is on the up. But when I say it's like a cup, I don't mean a piece of pottery. Getting hold of the Grail, it's gold. It's more like winning the lottery. This Holy Grail was far away, lost to a foreign land, locked up as precious treasure by a greedy robber band. A legend told that the three best knights would one day cross the sea and bring the Grail back home to show to folks like you or me. But here's the hitch. In Camelot, the best knight wasn't there. For at the great round table there stood an empty chair. Upon the chair some words were carved, and this is what they said: "If you're not the best, don't try the test. Sit here and you'll be dead." So the chair just stood there empty, as no one seemed to fit. "Ah, well," sighed good King Arthur, "we'll have to wait a bit. We can't send the best 3 knights out there if the best knight's not yet come. And sending 2 just wouldn't do. That would be simply dumb." Then one day brave Sir Lancelot was riding through the wood when he saw a glow of golden light, and it made him feel so good. And the glow became a vision of the Grail so bright and fine that he spun around and fell to the ground as if he'd had too much wine. The nuns of a nearby convent found him and put him to bed. They gave him a funny potion which helped to clear his head. Then they brought him a lad with golden hair who looked both brave and true, and they said, "When you go to Camelot, please take this boy with you. He was left with us as a baby, but he's growing big and strong. We can't keep a man in a convent. That would be really wrong." "Yes, teach me to be a knight like you," said the eager youthful lad. "Teach me to fight and do what's right. My name is Galahad." So Lancelot took that keen young man and taught him the tricks of the trade. How to stay on a horse, and yes, of course, how to wield a big strong blade. How to put on a helmet the right way round and fasten an iron boot. How not to fall down like a circus clown when wearing a 2-ton suit. Galahad learned so quickly he could gallop before he could trot. Soon it was time to introduce the lad to Camelot. "My friends," cried bold Sir Lancelot, "look at this lovely sight. See what I found in the forest, a brand new noble knight." Galahad nodded a greeting, then sat in the empty chair. Everyone shrieked and pointed, "Be careful, don't sit there." "Why not?" said Golden Galahad. "It seems to fit just fine. Besides, I feel it in my bones. This chair is clearly mine." King Arthur leaped and punched the air. "Whoopee, he's come at last. This lad must be our true best knight. Our long, long wait has passed." He got young Galahad to kneel and knighted him at his feet. "Arise, Sir Galahad," he said, "and take your rightful seat." "Our company's complete," he cried. "At last our best knight's here. Let's send out for a takeaway and Camelot's best beer." Just as the meal was ending, Sir Lancelot spoke up. "I saw a vision the other day of the missing golden cup." Everyone gasped in wonder. "The cup! The Holy Grail! This means it's time to bring it home. Come on, let's hit the trail." "Oh no," cut in wise Merlin. "This is a special quest. It's meant for 3, and they must be tip-top, the very best. Galahad will be number 1 at fighting Lancelot's ace. Now who's got good survival skills to fill the final place?" Everyone looked at Percival, the wild knight from the west. "That's it," said Merlin, nodding. "These 3 knights make the best." So Galahad and Lancelot and Percival agreed that they would ride both far and wide until they'd done the deed. But where the Holy Grail was, they hardly had a notion. They only knew it lay out there, across the foaming ocean. "I had a dream," said Galahad, "that it was somewhere hot." So off they sailed with suntan cream from chilly Camelot. They came to a far country with lots of sun and sand, and they went ashore saying, "Let's explore, this seems a likely land." But no one knew of the Golden Grail when they tried to ask the way, and the 3 knights plodded staunchly on, day after weary day. They met with giants and dragons, serpents with many heads. They grappled with trolls and demons, found scorpions in their beds. And the sand got into their sandwiches and tickled between their toes, while midges bit them on the ear and got right up their nose. But though they fought with many a foe in battles fierce and bold, they never heard a whisper of the Grail that glowed so gold. Till one day Galahad woke up with both blue eyes agleam. "Surprise, surprise, I got it, guys. I've seen it in a dream. The Grail's in a ruined fortress out in the desert sands. No one goes there nowadays except for robber bands." So off they went, that trusty trio, across the desert dunes. To blow away their boredom, they whistled silly tunes. Till there it stood, with broken walls and towers all tumbled down. "Be careful now," said Lancelot, and gave a wary frown. For as he guessed, inside the fort was hidden many a guard, and all of them had cutlasses, and all of them were hard. So though our knights were weary, they battled biff, baff, boff. They made those robbers leap about and sent them howling off. They searched the ruined fortress and found a secret stair. They stopped to light a candle and tiptoed down with care. "This could be it," said Galahad. "There's something here, no doubt." A chilly draught came wafting through and blew their candle out. They shuffled slowly forwards towards a distant glow. It shone both bright and golden. Galahad cried, "Whoa!" He jumped around, delighted, and pointed at the gleam. "Look, Pierce and Lance, I want to dance. It's just like in my dream. I knew we'd get to do it. I knew we wouldn't fail. It's standing right in front of us, the shining Holy Grail." But Lancelot and Percival were dazzled by its glow. So Galahad got hold of it and cried, "Okay, let's go!" And go they did. They mounted up and went off at a trot. Then after many weeks returned to Castle Camelot. You'd think they'd won the football, to see folk jump and shout. King Arthur called a holiday, and everyone came out. And then he threw a special feast to celebrate the cup. "Come on, young Galahad," he cried, "please hold the trophy up." But as he did, the dining hall was filled with golden light, and nobody could look at it except the true best knight. Then as the dazzle faded, they opened up their eyes, and wow, the Grail and Galahad were heading for the skies. A magical voice came booming down. "They're much too good for you. Sir Galahad will guard the Grail in heaven out of view." "Well, never mind," King Arthur shrugged. "I still say that we've done it. Before it floated up to heaven, the cup was ours, we won it." So there's the tale of how the Grail came back to Camelot. And this is me, I'm checking out. I'm winding up the plot. For now my story's over, and the clock is ticking by. So see you soon.